Hello out there, everyone. Thanks for joining us for round number 1 of Track Limits Racing. This is the Sports Car Series. We're in 2025. This is Season 1, Round 1 at Oschersleben. I'm Whelpcakes in the booth with me, two legends in their own right. Mr. Finicini and Mr. Retro Coffin. Gentlemen, how are you both doing tonight?
Oh, I'm hyped.
I'm doing fantastic as well. Happy to be back. How are you?
I'm doing quite well, getting ready to watch some sports car racing around a technical circuit. I love watching racing at Oschersleben, and I feel like with the LMP3 GT4 combination, I think we've got a real treat for everyone at home.
This is definitely a track that I think really benefits from the amount of speed that the GT4s and LMP3s have, where it's enough to feel very fast. Not too much, though, where you feel like you're getting really railroaded through the technical sectors. You're allowed to breathe in those moments in between, corner sections and the long straight along the back.
Indeed. Quick sound check in chat. If somebody would give me a thumbs up, just let me know that we're doing okay from a sound perspective. Retro, long time, sir. I hope you are well where you are. And yeah, Sports Car Series is back for another round. You excited? Oschersleben, these cars, what do you think?
See, I was excited, and then I saw that intro montage with the music, and now I'm just hyped. Now I want to be in there with these guys driving. It's a fun track. Last season I was here. The guys put up a really good racing, so I'm excited. This is a big grid, too. It's a massive grid.
Yeah, it is. We have, I believe, 51 registered total.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, it is a huge GT4 field. That is for sure, because we got the two classes in GT4 this season. For the folks at home that don't know, season 1 of 2025, a few changes to talk about. We do have a single LMP3 class now, but the GT4 class still maintains Pro and AM categories. We do have a revised points format that you can read about on the site, and the new timing format with the feature races and the heat scoring being kind of a new add-on for 2025 season 1. So you're going to get to see the same familiar kind of sort of strategy shenanigans that happen in track limits, but I do think that with the the addition of like our feature race format and stuff like that, I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. This will be a 90-minute here for round 1 at Oschersleben, and I believe everybody is pulling into the pits because I believe we're about to get underway with qualifying, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Finn, we've gone back to open qualifying.
We have gone back to open qualifying, so everybody will be on the track at the same time, which I think is going to be a lot more fun for us in the booth to be able to understand where everybody's at in a given lap.
Yeah. For the folks at home, we are dealing with 24 degrees ambient temperature, 37% humidity with partly cloudy skies. It's a really nice day at Motorsports Arena Oschersleben, 3.61 kilometers. I think this is a great start to the season. Very technical circuit. Been enjoying this track since Project Cars, and I'm glad that we are deciding to open the season up here for season 1, round 1. Let's take a quick moment and check. It does look like practice is still ticking down, but real quick before we get into qualifying, let's take a moment to take a look at those times that we have right now. It does look like we have a bit of a flip-flop. Do we have a misplaced car?
Yes, Scott Fleming should be an LMP3 driver and is currently listed as a GT4 Pro. This was a last-minute switch from GT4 to
I had
LMP3
it swapped.
Scott.
I had it swapped to the opposite. It is.
Yeah.
So where is Scott in my spreadsheet? Mr. Fleming. Yeah. I marked him back down as GT4 Pro. He is LMP3. That should fix him.
There you go.
And there we go. So Scott Fleming, top of the timesheets with that 120.6. And then we've got, I believe that is Andrew Monroe in the 88 with Let's actually get those times up for the folks at home real quick. Take a peek. Yeah. At 120.16, so 1/10 between them practically. GT4 Pro, we've got Chapman with a 130.152 to top the timesheets with Badmus, 2/10 off the pace. Potter in the GT4 AM class, newcomer, with a 30.945, and he has a little over a 10th to Knudsen, I believe is how you pronounce that. Yeah, so many newcomers, man. This is pretty crazy, but yeah, we're gonna.
It really is. I love how much this grid I feel like has exploded in the off season. Between last season and the beginning of this season, I feel like I'm looking at the numbers and I keep seeing all the people trickle into the timing sheets and our scoring sheets on the spreadsheet, our main SCS 2025 S1 sheet, and I'm just like, wow, there's so many more drivers now, and I'm stoked for the race we're going to get as a result.
Yep. So with that, we're going to have a finish to free practice, and they're going to get ready to move into qualifying here in a bit while the session gets ready to roll over. Again, open qualifying format with a grand total of 40 cars on the track for round one.
That's not going to be busy at all.
That is going to be something. We're gonna see what that's going to be like. Let's go ahead and get the quali data pulled up for this now. Waiting to see who's going to be the first one out on track. Look like
Speaking
we've got
of the track. I think they're wrapping up the last of their driver brief real quick. And to answer someone who is asking about it, there are 14 turns on Motorsport Arena Oschersleben and its current configuration. So, but they are, I think, now getting ready to go out for qualifying.
And we do
it's
have
valuable time.
Yep.
Valuable time that they could just hop out there and just run, go quickly.
Definitely want to take advantage of the time if you have it on track. But again, like Finn was saying, they might be wrapping up that briefing before they head out on track. Hopefully this doesn't bleed into too much of the quali time. But here in a minute, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get qualifying underway. Till then.
Now, it would be kind of fun if you had all the drivers in the garage and you're just giving them a briefing and they all have to like grab their helmets and run to their cars.
Yeah, like Le Mans start, but Le Mans.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be kind of
just
funny.
Straight out of the garage.
That'd
run
be
out.
Funny. Yeah.
But it would be about as chaotic and maybe as dangerous as those starts are.
Yep. Looks like it is driver's briefing at the moment from Gian Cardoso. Track Limit Racing's own Gian Cardoso letting us know.
Yes.
So with the 2025 season 1 getting underway, just want to give everyone a quick reminder that you can look us up on simgrid.com if you want to be a part of the action. There's the championship link. Also, feel free to join our Discord. It's a pretty cool place. Got a lot of good people in there. Sharing a lot of information. I know that, as you can imagine, with the format that we're dealing with here, the Falcon Championship in iRacing is a big deal. A lot of people racing in that. Also doing the GT4 challenge as well. So and the LMP3. So if you want to get in there, mix it up with these guys, maybe learn a thing or two, or help some people out. Definitely check us out on Discord. How am I killing you, Chris? Please tell me.
Yeah, I'd also like
hopefully I'm killing you softly. But anyway, I just dated myself there. So yeah.
Only a little bit. Not like a whole lot.
Not a whole lot. Because I think, to be perfectly honest, I think if you're into the Fujis, like it doesn't really matter how old you are. Timeless.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they are pretty timeless.
So yeah. But just waiting for the driver's briefing to come to an end. And then we're going to jump into qualifying around here at Oschersleben. A fan retro experience with this track.
It's a fun track. How little can you brake and how much speed can you carry, especially in a GT4?
Absolutely.
you have a couple hard braking zones, but not really. Everything's about carrying speed.
Yeah,
So,
there's. Oh, finish your thought.
oh, I mean, something like hotel, how much you can cut, and going through, some like 8, 9, 10, how much speed, 11, 12. It's all about like how much speed can you carry, how much tires have you got.
Mhm. And we'll see the pace difference between the LMP3s and the GT4s a little bit more in this track. I feel like because especially those hard braking zones like you talked about, you got to slow down those GT4s, excuse me, a little bit more than the LMP3s, as they still have that aero to help them slightly more than the GT4s do.
Yeah, so it seems like momentum is going to be kind of the order of the day for folks that are trying to maximize their effort out on Oschersleben. With the traffic, low speed corners, not really popular with the LMP3, kind of turns the traction control into a dishwasher.
It does.
What do you guys think? Especially with that final chicane getting ready to go into the final corner, do you think we're going to see some LMP3s maybe get a little awkward with the GT4 difference in speed?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a few different awkward interchanges between the little chicane there before the back straight. McDonald's corner, I think we'll see a good number of times where the LMP3s aren't quite sure where to be when trying to navigate through GT4 traffic. Hopefully to nobody's damage, but who knows?
Do you see some folks out in pit lanes still waiting for that driver's briefing to come to an end? For folks that are interested at all in following along with timing and scoring, let's see if I have the link kicking. One moment.
I have a question while you look that up.
Yeah.
Why is there a corner called McDonald's?
I don't know.
Like, I feel, was there a McDonald's there? Was somebody named McDonald's did something there?
I mean, I don't know.
Just got like
Maybe a
or
famous
they don't.
racer.
Yeah, no, I'd rather believe that there's a McDonald's with drive-through there and they're serving out quarter pounders.
It could be. It could be. So here we go. We got the timing link. Let's go ahead and post that up in chat. Believe I've got that. No, I do not.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anybody on track right now. That is.
Yeah.
Yes, we're still, I think, doing driver's briefing by the looks of it here in the Discord.
And once that's done, we'll be good to go. Start this race off.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Ethan does on the was it a Mercedes he's in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of disappointed I'm not seeing him in a Porsche, but
I'm
it
just
is what it
excited
is.
I'm excited he's changing up from the LMP3 he's been dominating in the past 2 seasons.
Oh yeah.
To,
I mean,
go and throw elbows in the other class.
Kid dominates anywhere he goes into.
Yeah, but I think the competition seems a little more fierce, at least in practice and the times there. But who knows?
Just waiting for quality to start here. For the folks that at home, like I said, if you want to be a part of the action, definitely check us out on simgrid.com. We do have quite a stacked grid this season with 51 entries now for 8 rounds here in season 1. And we have some very interesting races. We're going to be hitting Road Atlanta in round 2, bringing back Twin Ring Motegi. That's something that folks that were kind of in the prototype for this series back when it was hosted with New World Sim Racing. Twin Ring Motegi with this format, I think is going to be very interesting. Going back to Charlotte for round 4. And then we have feature race of the season, 144 minutes, round 5 at Sebring. I think that's going to be great. Going to the Chicago Street Circuit. First time I'm ever going to get to call a race on the Chicago Street Circuit. I'm really pumped about that one. Round 7 at Spa. And then finally the series finale at a track that is near and dear to my heart, being an IndyCar fan. I feel like it is so underutilized. It is such a technical circuit. 120 minutes, Mid-Ohio. for the series finale. I think that is an excellent choice. I think that's a good calendar, and
I
I'm
mean,
really excited for it.
I couldn't agree more. I think I'm also, as a somebody who grew up in Ohio, I'm also excited about the fact that we have Mid Ohio as the season finale. I think it's going to be a really hard toss up on which one's going to be my favorite in terms of track between Sebring, Motegi, and Mid Ohio. I'm going to have to see as the season develops. Because I love Twin Ring Motegi. I think it's the perfect amount of track for these kind of cars. The GT4 LMP3 machinery has, being a little bit of a slower machinery, they really make that use of the whole track space, I feel like, where some of the faster cars maybe use it a little bit less. So, yeah, it definitely is a fantastic schedule for this season, and I'm looking forward to every single race.
Indeed. I think with the 144 minutes at Sebring, that's going to be very interesting. I think the whole feature race format thing that we're doing this season is going to be an interesting spin. And then, of course, 120 minutes at Mid Ohio. I mean, I think it's going to be kind of, for me, it's going to be a little bit more, like I'm excited for Oschersleben right now, but I think that Mid Ohio is going to be a little bit more exciting, that kind of track, because I really think that when you get into some of the parts of the circuit where you're dealing with the elevation change, the rapid elevation change, especially with the LMP3s, I think it's going to be so tough for the LMP3 field to maintain composure and concentration in a track like Mid Ohio.
Look at all these guys just shooting out of the pits now.
That is fantastic. So now let's go ahead and switch on over and take a peek around track. These guys are getting geared up for qualifying here at Oschersleben.
10 minutes of GT4 qualifying, to be specific.
Yep. We got them out on track, no time for some of the folks on screen. Let's go through and introduce. Let's take a peek around track and take a look at some of the newcomers that are here. We got Mally Goosens, who I think actually might not necessarily be a newcomer. I think Mally was part of the series finale, if I remember correctly. But glad to have Mally back. Kyle Potter, who I mentioned before. Very interested to see what the Set GK BMW can do around here. So many newcomers, man. And of course, we've got some old faces, old familiar faces. Mr. Logan Branson joining us again in the Wookiee OH AMG, which you can go check out Wookiee over on his Twitch channel, just twitch.tv/WookieeOH. He's probably out there doing his thing right now. John Newman in the 18 Porsche coming across the line, and he's getting ready to set up his first flying lap. Let's go ahead and ride on board with Mr. John Newman around Oschersleben. So he's taking the long right-hander here right after turn 1. Let's get the track map pulled up so everybody at home can follow along. So we got two Newmans on track. Well, actually, I think it might have focused on the wrong Newman.
Oh, big spin.
Oh, big spin. Okay, so he's going to have to pull it off track.
But he's able to recover it.
Yeah, he's able to recover it. We're good. We're good. He's able to get back out on track. Let's go ahead and swap out now. See if we can find somebody in GT4 still putting down laps. So we got 10 minutes with the GT4 runners here. It does look like Colin Johnson, another newcomer here in the Porsche, in the 73.
Ooh.
Oh, man, look at the number of cars on that track map. It's going to be almost impossible to follow along. I wonder if I can search by number. If I do 73. No, that one doesn't work. You, Colin.
Nope.
That one doesn't work.
I've got my I think I've got my tracking here set to most exciting, and I'm seeing a couple cars just get a little bit excited very quickly on the throttle and swinging the rear end around.
We do have some time starting to come in. We got Chapman on top with that 30.612 with Garcia and Johnson, both within 4/10. Let's go take a look at some of the others that are about to finish the lap. Let's look at Thomas DiArcangelo. Comes across the line, fourth fastest.
Taco Bell Porsche right there. Not making me hungry.
Indeed,
but
indeed.
To your point, Retro, absolutely an easy thing to do on this track because there's not a ton of banking, I think, on any of the corners to really kind of hug the car. You do have to be very careful with that throttle application. Otherwise, it will just spin on you. Even the Porsche, which I know you were such a fan of, will kick its rear end out if you give it too much gas too quickly.
So Dave Schneider coming across the line. Where's Dave Schneider going to put it? I think he's going to have to take another shot at it. Just looking at some of the other times. So right now, Sam Chapman currently in second, about 0.05 of a second behind Badmus, getting ready to exit the final corner down the start-finish straightaway. He's currently down, though, so I don't think we're going to be seeing... No, it's connecting.
Hey, now we're back.
I mean, it just says connecting on my end. I hope we're back. If people can hear us, then we're back. If they can't hear us, then I don't know what's happening. So,
says we're back.
Yeah, I definitely could hear something.
High five, we back.
He says...
Okay.
Don't believe you, Turner.
Yeah.
I don't think,
so let's jump back into it. Apologies for that, folks. We got some technical gremlins happening over here. The Twitch still shows that I'm authenticating. It doesn't show that I'm actually connected yet. So I have no idea what's happening right now. So we're going to keep this show rolling as much as we can with the final remaining 10 minutes for final remaining parts of the first 10 minutes for GT4. Let's go take a peek. I wanted to go see what the field is like currently in the AM category because we've got Sean Sullivan's off track. Taking a look right now at some of the folks that are getting ready to finish, like Jared Jones, who's coming back to us in the McLaren coming across the line. Where does Jared Jones put the car? And it looks like he's going to have to settle for 18th in the overall. Just taking a peek at some more folks getting ready. David Schneider exiting the final corner right now, currently sitting in 9th in GTAM. And is he going to improve his time or his position? Doesn't look like it. We are coming to a close here. Ryan Thomas is going to tumble down the order just a little bit more, down to 6th place, but he's still got some time to finish. Sam Chapman, camera's lost its marbles, but he's going to pull into the pits, it looks like. He's currently sitting on top of the timesheets. Stephen Wallace and Ryan Thomas out on track in GT4 Pro, trying to get in another lap before the end of the session. Just taking a peek. Who in GT4 AM is going to come across the line? This isn't GT4 AM. I believe Jared Jones is in Pro category, but currently sitting 19th overall.
Yeah, Jared Jones looks like he's been struggling in qualifying. I don't know if this is an in-lap based on the fact that I don't see any positive sectors for him. I'm kind of starting to think it might be. But definitely some pace to go find in the feature race and the main race.
Yeah. So he's getting ready to come across the line right now. Got an exit. Doesn't look like he's going to have a good enough time to really make some big improvements. Same sort of scenario right now with Bruno Clemente. Don't think he's going to be having any improvements on offer, but Ryan Thomas coming across the line. Let's go take a look at what Ryan's got. He's currently down. So everybody basically down on times right now. Nobody is in the positive. I think everyone is kind of like milked the pace for as much as they can get out of it. And yeah. Although it does look like with a little bit of time left, because we do still have time left, Bruno Clemente goes back out on track, and he is currently sitting positive. So is Christopher Blue. Bruno Clemente in the 222, currently sitting 4th in GT4 AM with a 31.363. I mean, the spread between him and Corey Lobner, not that big, And the spread between them and Sean Sullivan, also not that big. Ethan has a challenge. It does look like it. Looks like it. Ethan Hamlet currently sitting in fourth with a 30.361. And then, I mean, he's got Garcia right behind him. So what do you guys think? Ethan Hamlet? Is GT4 finally the place where he's going to get a race?
It's starting to look like it. I would like to believe that it's at least going to be a bit more of a tough battle for him. I think it's definitely possible. I think Ethan will definitely have the consistency to at least stay up on the podium and maybe make his way to the top. It'll be interesting to see as we kind of transition to LMP3 qualifying as they are lining up on.
Oh, they're all queued up.
Yeah, so they're all queued up, and Austin Green can still finish his lap out. LMP3s are getting ready to go out, though. So why don't we go check in on some of the LMP3 runners that are heading out, like Alex Velasco coming back to us this season in the 777. So with quali over for GT4, we've got Sam Chapman kind of unlocking that pace that we saw from him in free practice, getting that 130.3. With that kind of pace and that kind of spread between Chapman, Badmus, and Hamlet, and even Garcia. I mean, I just think the top five are still everybody's kind of in it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm just kind of interesting. I'm just interested to see how GT4 Pro is going to shake out. Of course, we got Potter at the top in GT4 AM with a 30.883. 2/10 between him and Sullivan, and then really tight margins between Sullivan all the way down to John Newman.
That's going to be, top five, or you're splitting hairs, really. I mean,
yeah.
0.05, right? And then you're going to throw traffic in there as the LMP3s are going to be overtaking. That's going to be an interesting fight.
I am getting some weirdness out of my connection right now, guys, so I'm really sorry about this. But for whatever reason, I'm getting... I'm not getting the ability to change the camera in iRacing right now. Not sure why. There we go. All right. Continuing to run into these technical gremlins, man. This is very similar to some of the stuff that I experienced with the iRacing stream earlier this week. I'm not entirely sure that it's my connection, but we're just going to keep working on it. Hopefully we can get it figured out. But on track right now, and we've got Scott Fleming in the 37, currently doing his thing. Getting ready to see if we get... We've got, I believe that is Nicholas Alvarado in the 420. Not at all deceptive there, Nick. Getting ready to come around the final corner. Let's see what Mr. Peter Bitchings in the 420 can post up. He's going to come across. Is he going to set us a time on the leaderboard? He does. What a lad.
120.6.
Yep, 120.6, which is a little bit off the pace. We did see Andrew Monroe in free practice getting into the 120.1s. Speaking of Andrew Monroe, right now getting ready to go through the final chicane and setting up for the entry into that final corner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Turn 14. Nice start, finish straight before it is immediately run into the hotel.
Yep.
That's a deceptive T1 because it's you brake hard, but also try to carry as much speed as possible.
Yeah,
because you're immediately into a long winding right hand.
And then the track limits are kind of deceptive. Like the lines kind of lie to you a little bit.
Yeah.
So let's take a look. Who else we got out on track getting ready to finish a lap out? We've got Bartaz. He is going into the chicane, getting lined up for the penultimate corner. in the 343, a late comer to the series. He joined us actually kind of late. That like I think, if I remember correctly, right before race start, registered for the series.
Oh wow.
Michael Lively out of nowhere. Didn't see any times from Michael in free practice, or at least ones that I had recorded on my notes. Getting into that 120.0, I think that's a pretty big deal.
Got a 20.1 in practice.
Yeah. Andrew Monroe comes across the line, and he goes third fastest, and it's doing the thing again where it switches to scenic. Don't understand why it's doing that. Automatically switching to scenic.
Did you pay the cameraman?
I mean,
Has the camera crew been taken care of?
See, now Chris is saying I'm getting some stuttering, so I don't know what is going on right now, because this did not happen on Wednesday, the stuttering bit.
Yeah, I haven't seen it with my end too.
Yeah, they're tiny little ones, enough.
Oh man, Andrew Monroe with the 119.9.
Yeah, see, the thing is, I can't see any details from Twitch right now. I can't see what my bit rate is. I can't even see how much CPU Odds is using. It's just sitting on connecting.
Well,
so,
would you think drop this down and then restart it again? Maybe that'll clear it up.
It could. I'm gonna hold tight. I know we've got some stuttering folks. I'm sorry about that, but we're gonna ride this out through quali, and when we go into the warm up phase, I'm gonna go ahead and give the stream a restart. I'm just gonna restart OBS, everything, and then we're gonna see if we can get through this race, and I can try and diagnose some of the problems for next week. Sorry about that. That's a good question. I'm not sure if I have it defaulted to admin on this new installation, but yeah, I don't remember it stuttering earlier this week when I was doing some streaming. So Andrew Monroe, top of the timesheets with that 19.69. So someone busted into the 19s. Let's
Some people have at this point.
Yeah, that's pretty rapid. John Barry's currently down on pace. I'm trying to find somebody who looks like they're going to crack into something a little bit more. I know Gabe Chavez is trying to draw himself out of the cellar right now. Let's see what he can do. He was running positive, but he still has yet to set a time. Wesley Griffith, he's currently sitting positive, but he hasn't even put in a timed lap yet, so we're going to see what Wesley can do.
And I've seen this watching through some of the other cars on track as we're watching through qualifying here. Also seeing the same kind of similar issue we saw too in the GT4 category that you were talking about, Retro, of that too much throttle application causing the car to slide out. But at this point, it just kind of almost hydroplanes off the track, more so than just fully spins once all four tires lose traction.
Yeah, these cars, they don't like losing traction at all. I mean, they'll give you, they feel great, but once traction's gone, it's gone for good.
It's gone. Yep.
So Wesley Griffith's going to post himself up in 9th position, getting a time lap on the board. Going to take a quick peek at John Barry, currently running some positive times right now. Exiting the final corner. Getting the power down on the LMP3 out of these low speed corners is just such a trick. He jumps up to 8th, so a very good result out of him. Where does Gabe Chavez end up posting up?
Third.
Third fastest. Look at Gabe.
Yes, 120.23.
Yeah, getting in those little 120s. We got Lively in the 19s now with a 19.745. So up at the sharp end of LMP3, I feel like we're going to have some very interesting battles going on. Sam Champman in chat saying few people having trouble with iRacing today. Not too bad on stream now, but could just be the number of cars. You know, that's a possibility. I'm looking at my statistics right now in Task Manager and stuff like that. The game's not stressing the new PC out too much, but yeah, just in particular, the one thing that's kind of got me perplexed right now is the fact that OBS is not showing me as being connected to Twitch. It's just showing it in a constant state of authenticating. So hope a restart when we get into the warm-up phase will fix the gremlins, but you know, we'll see. Both Gabe Chavez and Alex Velasco currently down on times. As we get close to the end here, boys, what do you think of these times we're seeing from LMP3 so far?
they're pretty quick. I mean, 19s. There's 2 of them in there, pretty close to each other. It's gonna be an interesting fight, especially how they encounter traffic if they stay close together through the race, and then 2nd through 5th or 3rd through 5th. I mean, they're right there with each other as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Less than half a second separating all those cars, and less than a second separates from P3 down to like P10 almost.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
going to be a very tight grid, I think, even through the top 10. So especially as they hit traffic, it could drastically change. Even though we're seeing all these pace, and all this time in the vacuum, they still have to contend with GT4s on the track.
Yeah. I think especially when we get into the race and start messing around with lapped cars and stuff like that, I think it's going to really spice things up for the
No.
folks at home. And we are
Well-
finished with qualifying. So with that said, folks, we're going to take a quick break. I'm not even going to do any scene transitions or anything like that. I'm just going to restart the stream, and then hopefully when things come back online, we'll have a little better performance. So I'll be back in hopefully less than a minute. So
We are live.
We are live. Everybody's just slowly forming up, running to their cars, getting their water bottles hooked up.
let's get the
You know what?
car number swapped in for the old time on track for the folks at home.
There you go. Now,
So
I'm curious.
let's see.
Go ahead.
Can we get the grid by class to show up? Let's find out. Hey, it worked. All right.
Look at
so,
you.
Teammates on the front row, maybe some collusion. So Andrew Monroe and Michael Lively are going to start us off at the front row of LMP3 with Gabe Chavez, Scott Fleming on the second row of the grid. Gian Cardoso alongside Nicholas Alvarado in the 420. Followed by Alex Velasco and John Barry. Ryan Buchanan and Wesley Griffith on the fifth row of the grid, followed by Mark Coyne and John Tommen, 11th to 12th. Take a look and see. We do have Sam Chapman and Uthman Badmus. I believe we're now starting to get into the GT4 cars.
Yes.
And that's in your GT4 Pro category, followed by Ethan Hamlet and Henry Garcia. We might run out of time, so I'm just going to go ahead and switch this over. I didn't realize it was going to be a short grid like this, but that's okay. So let's go ahead and get that pulled up. And away we go.
Here we go.
LMP3s are going first. Looks like there was a jump from Monroe, and we've got Fleming covering off on the outside line. Do you see Nicholas Alvarado? All right. And the GT4s are started, and Chapman is off to the races, and he does get a pretty good jump. With that, let's take a peek. Who do we got? What intervals do we got that are tight right here? Wesley Griffith currently locked in a battle. I believe that's Gian Cardoso after losing some spots. Race start in the 4-2. Gian Cardoso down 2 spots after the start of the race. Wesley Griffith is going to make the move stick. Jumping back into our GT4 field. We've got Kyle Potter. Looks like he's currently up 1 spot, starting to intermix with the GT4 Pro field after having a really solid quali. Man, we're going to have to figure out the grid walk if we're going to have 50 cars. That is going to be a tough one.
We're just going to take
start it.
We got an LMP3
spin
dead
already
at the end of the back straight.
Yes.
So shenanigans have started. Hopefully the stuttering is not as bad now. Can you let me know, Chris, if you can tell or not?
Oh, boy. I'm seeing all these cars go through 13 and 14, hitting that off track, and just see dirt coming all the way to the middle of the track.
Indeed, it is tight racing right here at the start. Austin Green in the Mercedes, currently sitting 10th in GT4 Pro, but it does look like Tommy Kogan has a bit of a moment. Not sure what happened to Tommy there. So Austin right now has got Kyle Potter all over his backside. Let's get inside the car with Kyle Potter and see how it's going. So talk to me, Retro. Talk to me through what we're seeing right now on track. What is Kyle trying to focus on relative to getting some space between him and the rest of his GT4 AM competitors?
I think he's just trying to stay in line, not miss. He let his tires warm up, carry as much speed as possible. And I don't really know how that BMW handles long runs, but he might just be waiting. Keep it clean. Looks like he's keeping it a good distance. LMP3s come around, he's going to be looking for a hole to poke through.
Yeah, this is some real interesting stuff. So Finn, with the LMP3 field, let's jump forward a little bit and take a look at the LMP3 runners, because right now we don't really have much in the way of close fights. The teammates right now are hanging close, but it looks like they're kind of in lockstep with one another. Meanwhile, Gian Cardoso still trying to find his way around Wesley Griffith. Talk to me a little bit about the performance of these LMP3 cars. What are the drivers going to be struggling with at the start of this first stint?
You know, this is a 20-minute sprint race, so it's entirely possible, you know, they have light fuel loads just to get them through the 20 minutes before they have to deal with the hour and 10-minute feature race. So it's very different than what I would say if we were at the start of the hour and 10 minutes of the full race. Usually these cars are full of fuel, have cold tires, so they're warming up, getting the temperature. We're about a lap and a half, almost 2 laps in. They're warm, but not quite up to the full operating window. And then the full fuel means that they're a little sluggish when you try to turn them in. They don't really want to, you know, do what you ask them to do. They're also LMP3s. You go through the slow corners, their traction control turns into a dishwasher, and you're just struggling to try to get it to rotate half the time. So it's like all those.
Go ahead, keep going.
I would say those all factor into what these drivers are experiencing, and it's also possible some of those drivers still have the full fuel, even though they're doing the 20-minute feature race. And I think that might be the thing we're seeing here with Wesley Griffith and Gian Cardoso, is a difference there in car setup and preparation for the hour and 10 feature race versus 20-minute heat.
Yeah, so while you were describing that for the viewers at home, we were watching. I was going to see if Ryan Buchanan was going to actually try and take a shot at Tommen, but now it seems like that gap's starting to open up. In the meantime, it does look like Uthman Badmus all over the rear of Sam Chapman right now. 3/10 at the front of a GT4 Pro is currently the separation, and we've already got LMP3 traffic starting to filter through.
Now, I believe this LMP3 traffic is...
Start on the back.
Yes, individuals who... I believe that was Alex Velasco, who did not grid, so he was in the pit lane to start and is now making his way through.
Indeed, so he's really really caught off guard here, trying to move through the traffic. He's still got a little ways to go before he can catch back up to Bartaz. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Not even going to attempt your last name, sir. But, well, actually, no, I'll give it a shot. If it's Paiseki, then I nailed it in one. But at the same time, hope I'm getting it correct in the 3-4-3. So Uthman Badmus really taking the fight to Chapman right now. I would say that's probably one of our closest battles we've got going on right now. Another close battle, though, one that's actually starting to kind of heat up a little bit, is Colin Johnson right now, who's sitting behind Austin Green. We've got, I don't know if you guys can tell or not, we've kind of got a gaggle of cars here. And it looks like Potter is continuing to just open the gap up to Corey Lobner now. It's up to 2.2, almost, yeah, fluctuating between 2.1 and 2.2.
Definitely some room being placed there as Potter's continuing to find his way through consistent pacing, which is kind of, I think, the thing that would be, not would be, but like the piece that they all have to keep in mind is that it's, you know, single lap time is great, but if you can really string together a set of laps that ends up being faster than another driver's set of laps, that's really what's going to net you the positions in the end.
Yeah.
So we look at all these times in qualifying, but it's also how many times can they do it consistently? Because if they can do it once fast, but 3 times way slower than another driver who does 3 medium speed laps, they're going to end up farther ahead. And I think we're seeing that with Potter and Colin.
Now, something I'm seeing here, watching Potter and the fight ahead, Newman is taking massive chunks out of those curbs, and all GT4s do, but he is hopping that Cayman like curbs are just a suggestion.
Curbs are optional here at
the proximity to all the other cars behind him. If he loses traction a little bit, and you're seeing them pretty close up there through 14. Oh, we got a spinner.
Oh, yeah, that is bad.
That is one of the that is the 15 right there, and that is going to be Uthman Badness getting off track fight there. Oh, looks like we've got to move.
You see Colin Johnson.
Yep. And Kyle Potter in there just mixing it up with the pro class. There's Tommy Kogan. He's trying to recover after an early spin. As we are down to, what is it? We're almost halfway through our first heat here.
That spin, by the way, was contact with Ethan Hamlet.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, no.
Oh, shaking it up. I like to see it. I mean, I don't like to see people lose positions, but at the same time too, it's exciting, right? You know, we want to see battles. We don't want to see bloodshed. We want to see a little Rubbins racing, you know, that kind of stuff. Mark Coyne in the 937 joining us this season in the LMP3. One of the hardest working man in sim racing, Mark Coyne, currently sitting in 8th position, trying to hold off Gabe Chavez and moving through this this GT4 traffic.
Yeah, a couple of GT4 back markers to start off the traffic. We won't see as much of it, I think, in the 20-minute feature race, or heat race versus our feature, where it'll be, I think, a much more integral part of the race, as I think Mark Coyne is just letting Gabe Chavez by.
It does look like we have a few retirements already. We've got John Barry, Jaden Ledbetter, and Kerry Nolan. So Jaden Ledbetter starting off with a retirement early on.
Oh, no.
That is not what you want to see.
I believe that's technical difficulties. Unfortunately, we're unable to get resolved.
Oh, that AMG Austin Green was getting a good sniff of Anthony Newman there.
I believe
you're starting to see their lines diverge a little bit, with the AMG taking the wider entry, trying to get that exit, line up a pass. It's just the Cayman can carry speed very well. Now, when it gets upset, it's mid-engine, high, feels a little wobbly. But if you nail the weight transfer on it, it can carry so much more speed through a corner.
This is this is the close one to watch right here, folks. Austin Green is glued to the rear end of the number 2.
He's just trying to rescue that cat.
Yeah, you know, he's like this man's got a cat in his trunk. Someone help him. LMP3 is moving through, and I believe that is race leader Andrew Monroe.
Yep.
And there's now a big gap between him and Michael Lively in P2.
Yeah, in fact, there is a big gap between him and Michael Lively, but you know what? There isn't a big gap, and that is between Mr. Nicholas Alvarado and Mr. Michael Lively. So the 420 moving through the traffic, currently stuck behind the 888, and they've got this GT4 traffic to navigate into turn 1. Nick is kind of getting held back behind some of this GT4 traffic.
Off track.
Oh, but that 888 washes out wide and into the grass.
That position right there.
Not sure if there was misjudgment with the number 12 or if that was just a straight up, I'm out on the marbles and I've got no grip. That's going to be an interesting one to go back and take a look at. John Tommen in the 4-0.
I'm going to chase him down, Gene Cardoso.
Yep.
If I understand that correctly.
Yep. He is hanging tight with Gian, and actually he's got Gabe Chavez on his rear. Let's hop on board. We haven't hopped on board with an LMP3 yet. Let's get listening.
Let's do it.
just in time to catch some GT4 traffic out of the long right-hander after turn 1 down this straightaway. This is what you were talking about before, Finn, I believe, is the fact that they do get a little bit of relief in some of these long straightaways. Now, using it to his advantage as the 4-0 gets kind of caught behind, I believe that would have been Kyle Potter, who's leading GT4 AM, and now he's stuck behind Kogan as they get ready to go into the final corner. In the back half of this race, I feel like we've seen, this has been a pretty good opening, I think, for the season right here. I've been seeing a lot of action, and I think this is a good start. I do like the birds aren't real reference on the 7.3. So, yep, definitely a drone believer right there. Into this long left-hander, just holding the outside. I thought he was going to be able to make it stick on the GT4, but he's losing ground quite quickly to Tommen. So
that is contact between Nick Alvarado and Sam Chapman, GT4 leader. It looks like net code more than real contact.
Yeah,
Sam Chapman is able to recover it, but
interesting, very interesting. And with that, so Alvarado currently, let's check in with Mr. Alvarado, who actually takes a trip into the grass. I don't know if the damage from the contact with the GT4 is starting to have an effect on him or not, but he's losing ground that he had to Michael Lively. Back in the GT4 field, because right now that, honestly, folks, that's the closest game in town, and that is GT4 AM leader Kyle Potter, currently holding up the 55 of Tommy Kogan, who is sitting in 10th in GT4 Pro.
It looks like Tommy's trying to find his way around Kyle Potter without causing too much of an issue for either him or the car that he's trying to pass.
It's so interesting, too, because into turn 1, he's got the inside line, but because you got that quick switchback to the long right-hander, he just doesn't have time to really make it count.
Yep, and it'll make you think that you can make that pass around the outside.
Yeah.
Until you hit that switchback, and like it happened earlier, the track just falls away from you.
Yeah, there's no camber there to help you grip at all. So if you're out there on the marbles that they've developed, or just out there in general, you have to be more careful than I think a lot of people end up trying to get around the outside of turn 2.
Yeah, it's pretty tricky around here right now. Somebody we haven't seen or talked about in the pile driving number 12 AMG, Mr. Matt Pyle, currently sitting 6th in GT4 Pro. We didn't actually get to this during the actual start of the stream, but for real quick for the folks at home, because I think this is a bit of a big deal. Oh, I see that I still don't have my stream up for you guys in Discord. Let me get that added real quick. Apologies with that. Actually, let me get the window changed so you can see OBS instead of a screen, because that's probably what you're going to want to see more than anything else. Let's do that. So, something to talk about. GT4 champion Mark Coyne moves to the LMP3 field, and then we've got the GT4 Pro champion Scott Fleming moving up into the P3 field. Ryan Buchanan moved up to the P3 field, and then Anthony Newman moved up into Pro Class in the GT4 Pro category. So, some interesting storylines. We got two-time champ Ethan Hamlin in GT4 Pro field alongside Stephen Wallace. So I think we've got 2 championship-level drivers currently duking it out, with Ethan Hamlin actually getting out in front of Sam Chapman. I wonder what happened there.
That was due to the contact between Sam and Nick in the LMP3 a few laps ago, and that allowed Ethan to slide through as Sam was recovering the car from that contact.
Interesting.
And Sam is doing a great job of reclosing that gap to Ethan to get back out front.
Yeah. Taking a look from Sam Chapman's perspective in the 101, looks like he's washing out a little deep.
Big wash, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the tires are pushing a little bit hard.
Definitely think he's pushing that car to its limit and maybe then some.
Yeah.
So that might be why he's losing pace there.
So with less than 3 minutes in heat number 1 before we hit the feature race, field is closing down a little bit. So with the point totals being what they are, you can check them out on simgrid.com. We are going to have split points for heat and feature races. So I think that's going to be an interesting addition for everyone to track in the standings throughout the rounds. But we do have another race coming right after this with, what is that? Is it going to be an hour and 10 minutes?
Mm-hmm. That is our feature race.
So we have some fights starting to close down right here as the race is getting very close to the end. But we're going to jump on board with Nicholas Alvarado as he is trying to hold off Michael Lively. I don't know if the damage with the contact with the GT4 was a factor in bringing these two closer together, but this right here is the close one with Andrew Monroe basically just gone.
Yes. I definitely think, if not the damage from the contact, the time lost from trying to avoid the GT4 is definitely what brought Michael back into the the draft. Yeah, draft. Yeah, the draft of Nick, and that has been helping him keep up over these laps.
I'm not sure why he shows up as Denmark. I think my maps are busted, but I'm not entirely sure. They might be a little busted.
It could be also Nick doing what Nick does, changing things. So. So we're following along. I do love to note that it's this is the race after each of them have had their own kind of mistakes earlier on in it, and they're now back to being neck and neck. So we'll see what pace they have leading towards the end of this feature here as we're hitting. I believe we're going to be coming up on the final lap here soon.
Yeah, we're coming. We're getting there soon, and Tommy Kogan does find his way around Kyle Potter. But Kyle Potter's not just going to let Tommy drive off. You know what? I think this might be a bit of point of pride for Kyle. It's like I'm top of GT4 AM, but I can run with the pro kids, so I might need that early promotion, sir. Chop to it.
Yep, we might be seeing that mid-season promotion.
Exactly. Coming through the chicane, definitely for the last time. Headed down that back straightaway. Mr. Andrew Monroe in the 88. Good result for Andrew to get the season started, man. Just all about consistency. Like good pace, but consistency. Didn't really see anything overly dramatic with Andrew on track as he comes around the final corner, and he's going to take that first race win of the season in the 88. Andrew Monroe comes across the line, and looks like Nick Alvarado and Michael Lively are going to come across 2 and 3. Let's check in with Mr. Ethan Hamlet. Like he is just now. Where is Ethan at? Heading down the back straightaway?
Yes, the chicane before it.
So he's just before the chicane. Sam Chapman's going to be right behind him. In the meantime, Kyle Potter, he has got quite a gap on Bruno Clemente with, 4 seconds almost? As they get ready to go through the chicane. So, yeah, we definitely got some, I think this race with the field and the technical nature of the track definitely kind of set the race apart in terms of like spreading the field out a little bit. But I do feel very optimistic, especially with the spread that we saw from those quali times. I think we're going to have a competitive season.
Absolutely. I think as we transition from the heat race towards the feature, it'll be interesting to see what people do with an hour and 10 on the clock instead of 20 minutes.
Indeed. Coming around the final corner right now, Mr. Kyle Potter. So with Ethan Hamlet, Sam Chapman taking 1-2, Sam Wallace third, GT4 Pro, Kyle Potter is going to take the race win in GT4 AM, followed by Bruno Clemente and Corey Lobner coming in strong in GT4 AM. Somebody is tired of their car. I believe that's Tommy Kogan.
That is a Tommy Kogan.
That is Tommy Kogan just yeeting himself into oblivion because he's had it.
There was a tire that
had it.
Tire looked at him wrong.
Yeah, that was a heck of a race. Let's jump over to that scenic cam real quick. We don't have race results yet for timing and scoring, but the first heat race is done and dusted. What'd you guys think? Was that a nice little taste of kind of like what's in store? Yeah. What were your thoughts?
It looked good. It's going to be interesting with a heavy fuel load the guys are going to have now. How much that weight transition is going to turn into. Saw a couple spinners, a little bit of contact, a little bit of cars washing out mid-corner. So see what adjustments they make.
Yeah, I think we kind of getting adjusted to relative now because you had a moment to kind of like race with the because we got a lot of newcomers involved, especially a lot of quick ones. So everybody's kind of like measuring everyone up, getting used to their tendencies and stuff like that. I think with that 20 minutes of kind of like figuring out everyone relative to one another, that I think we're going to have, I'm hoping for a nice tighter race this time around. So lining up for the feature.
Are we getting a full lap?
That is a question.
No, it's still a shortened lap.
That
you
is
better hurry up then.
Yep. I am already lined up. We're not even going to try and do the grid walk because I think that is going to be a bit much. I do see Michael Lively at the front of the grid. Does that mean that we might have had someone not start there at the front?
I think is an error as Andrew Monroe is in the pit lane.
Andrew Monroe in the pit lane. We've also got Jaden Ledbetter, John Tommen, Nicholas Alvarado, and Kerry Nolan Jr. as they're coming around the final corner right now. Let's get that front camera as they get ready to go down the start-finish straightaway. Serial Team 6, Scott Fleming in the 37, going to try and take the fight to the 888 of Mike Lively. They are green. Michael Lively gets a heck of a jump with Gian Cardoso and Wesley Griffith. Again, these two. And Wesley giving Gian a bit of a bump there, maybe. Gian coming back in the long right-hander. And boy, we are getting an introduction back into this racing, aren't we, gentlemen?
A little hip check-in.
Yep, hip checking going on as we go into the GT4 field. Ethan Hamlet gets a jump, and he's out in front of Sam Chapman. Sam Chapman already got his hands full at the start of the race with Ryan Thompson and Stephen Wallace in the background.
They immediately get that LMP3 coming out of the pits.
Yeah, the 88's going to have to time this out. Now, with the feature race being a thing, ladies and gentlemen, we do have, I believe, the same fuel restrictions, if I remember correctly, Finn. 60% for LMP3 and then 50% for GT4. So yes, they are going to have to stop for fuel and, strategy, shenanigans. That's kind of what makes track limits fun to watch when you're dealing with multi-class.
Big wreck in the back.
Big wreck in the back. Let's go take a peek and see if we can find out what happened there.
Just carried from one to the other.
Does look like we see Matt Pyle involved in it. Can we get a shot? Ooh. Let's see if we can get it from the chopper perspective. Oh, he's just getting bonked all around. Not sure why we'll not change to a distance camera, but.
Yeah, it looks like Kyle Potter spun that, and then cars just started collecting behind the two of them.
So with Kyle Potter being involved in that incident, Edward Zamora now in the 228 out in the lead. Christopher Blue in the 530 jumping up into third. So we've got some definitely a rotating cast of characters up in the top end of GT4 AM.
Also,
go ahead.
if you have a moment for more kind of lap one incidents, we Corey Lobner and Bruno Calamente at the end of turn 3 at the hairpin. Corey got lost it on the curbing and got collected Bruno in that contact. And then at the beginning of the lap, Logan Branson, I believe, just self-spun into the barrier at the end of turn 2.
Let's go see if we can find out what happened with Corey.
I think
Corey's off track. Is that already after it happened?
Yeah, that's after it happened. That's
Okay. All right. Interesting. Interesting.
It
Let's go
looks
back
like he
to here
hold
then.
tight.
So maybe this is when we start to get in. So
Yeah.
this is at the start.
Yep.
Oh, yep.
Oh,
There's the
yep.
contact, and both of them just kind of go sliding off.
And
He just lost
Corey's
the
already,
car.
Yeah, he's lost the car by the time he makes contact with Bruno.
Oh, that rejoin though. Oh
yeah.
man, I bet he's going to make a run for the border after this race because man, that was dramatic. Wow, that was something.
It's a white knuckle moment.
Yep, it is. That is definitely a moment.
Don't move. Don't move. Don't move. Ah!
That is one of the moments of all time. Let's go check in with Gian Cardoso. Gian Cardoso, Gabe Chavez currently duking it out in LMP3. Does look like Gian's going to have his hands full. Not sure why Gabe is taking such an offline. Maybe he's worried about Ryan Buchanan, Alex Velasco. Alex Velasco in 7th place right now. That is going to be a wonderful start in comparison to his 20-minute heat race. So he's going to try and take the 777 maybe a little bit higher up in the order for the feature race, which again, folks, an hour and 10 minutes. It's going to be interesting, so strap in.
Yeah, that's speaking of Alex Velasco and Ryan Buchanan. They had those two and Gabe Chavez also had contact in lap 13, or turn 13. Alex Velasco rear-ending Ryan Buchanan, who then turned into Gabe Chavez.
Man, this one, this is a spicier start
Yes.
than we saw in the heat race. I thought the heat race, because it's 20 minutes, I thought we were going to see people taking like crazier risks, but it seems like we get to the one where the points really do matter and everybody is chomping at the bit to get around one another.
Elbows are out on this one for sure.
Yeah. Austin Green in the 6'9", AMG currently behind Colin Johnson. 2 newcomers going into the sweeping right-hander. And Porsche moves over, just covers off the line from the 6'9" AMG as they exit the corners. Right behind Steve Wallace. Steve Wallace is going to have himself an interesting time in GT4 Pro. Him and Scott Fleming last season kind of were on an island. And now it definitely feels like there's a lot of talent at the top end of G4 Pro.
I think Steve Wallace is also going to have a interesting time in the transition from the Mercedes that he drove last season towards the Aston Martin that he's picked up for this season of Track Limits.
Yeah. But speaking of which, let's go. We haven't taken a look at Steve's car yet. He's rocking that nice Buc-ee's Aston Martin. And he's also got the nice shiny paint on it, which I think is really cool. Lights are starting to go down a little bit here at Oschersleben. I don't know if we've got afternoon setting for this race, but yeah, definitely. I definitely like the cloud cover. It's a nice addition.
So.
My word, Tommy Kogan finds himself currently running 8th overall. Looks like he's not far behind Tanner Schiffner. Tanner Schiffner back in the BMW M4 this season. Part of that pile drive racing crew.
I think we've seen these two race together pretty frequently, if I remember correctly, from last season.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see as they get into this season how they'll fare with each other, and with Tanner in the new BMW.
Lots of close racing right now in GT4. Colin Johnson does have his hands full. Closest race on track right now. Actually, let me pull up those intervals so everybody can take a peek. Right now, it does look like does look like Colin and Austin Green. One of the closer fights on track, although Tommy Kogan and Tanner Schiffer, we've been bouncing back and forth between these four, and they're kind of bunched together too. Not too far off of Stephen Wallace as well.
I would say
like a
they've
little
been
more than a
reeling
half
them in.
second.
Definitely, and I think they've been reeling them in over the past few. Reeling Stephen Wallace in is he's kind of been on his own, and they've been racing together. So they've been making up time there, I believe, trying to get to him.
Yeah. Let's take a jump. Let's take a jump up and take a peek at Bartosz Pisecki in the 343, who's having a really good race in comparison to his heat race. The 343 up in a podium position right now in LMP3 as they get ready to mix and move their way through the GT4 traffic, and there's Gian Cardoso in the background.
So all of a sudden, those two GT4 cars have brought these three within 0.5 of each other.
Yeah. And Gian's going to try and hold the outside, and yeah, this is some pretty good stuff right now. And that was take a peek through the field. That was Logan Bronson and Bruno Clemente, who had a really good heat race, but is not having the feature race that he was hoping for.
Definitely. Definitely not due to the incidents there early on lap 1. But hopefully...
Go ahead.
I would say hopefully their recovery drive nets them some good points, and if they have that consistency there. I believe each driver has at least one fast repair to get their cars back into the race, so it's not as bad of a hit when they are in contact or have an incident that involves the car getting damaged.
Yeah. So Uthman Badmus right now, he's trying to catch up to Tommy Kogan. He's got quite a ways to go. But behind him, actually, and it looks like the front end is a little bit messed up on Kyle Potter's car. I think it was from that contact you were talking about.
Gone.
Yeah, a little messed
Gone.
up.
The whole kidney grill's gone.
Yeah. So, going to be interesting. Uthman going to try and hold Kyle Potter back. Not racing in the same class, but they are in the GT4 category together. So...
And Uthman's on a bit of a recovery drive from the feature race, or from the heat race, because he had a pretty bad off there at the beginning when he got turned by Ethan Hammond.
So with him, and he's actually caught Tanner Schiffner now. So Tanner Schiffner getting dispatched by Tommy Kogan. Tommy Kogan now driving off in the distance. And Uthman Badmus now stuck behind Tanner Schiffner. He's going to try and find a way to determine who's the faster. Whoa! 82's loose on corner exit. That's Kyle Potter.
Big wiggle.
Yeah, he gave it a big wiggle. Gian Cardoso diving into the chicane here. And that's going to put Uthman lined up on Tanner Schiffner, moves to the inside line, mounts the curb.
Hunting.
That's brave.
I'm telling you, the curbs are optional for these cars.
But you have to be careful because some of them will unsettle the car to the point where we saw with Corey Lobner early on.
Yeah.
And it can be very dangerous if you don't, let the car settle before trying to move it some more.
So, for the folks at home,
oh no, that's a big nudge.
Okay.
Yeah. Griffin was not paying attention to that braking marker.
Yep. That is.
So you have moments like that. I don't think any driver really feels good about it. I think everybody just kicks themselves after doing something like that, and then see if he can recover and just get his, his mind focused and just keep moving forward and just.
Retro, what do you do to refocus in moments like that?
I yell at myself for about 3 corners.
Okay.
Usually, my fiance just pops in to see if I'm okay, and then I keep driving.
Just make sure a murder has not happened, and then
Yeah.
and then like, okay, we're cool. Closes the door.
Yeah, you slowly back away.
Yeah, it's about how I think I handle those situations where I've pushed somebody off and I'm just like, why are you like this to
Yeah,
myself?
exactly. Yep.
Oh, interesting. So the moves over. LMP3 goes up the inside. I was thinking that maybe Austin would get a little bit of a tow, but it just wasn't enough, and he's going to have to stay behind Colin Johnson a little bit longer.
I think they're definitely showing the differences between the front engine Mercedes and the mid-engine, almost rear, but mid-engine Cayman, and where their strengths are over the course of a lap. Because you can definitely see up sections where Austin is definitely closing that distance, but Colin is able to just utilize that, the ability to weight transfer so much better in some of these corners than the Mercedes is able to do. But Austin is really sticking his nose out, trying to find a way around.
Yeah.
It's like the AMG looks like it has a better turn-in up to the middle point, apex of the corner. But once that Cayman settles, it just gives you extra traction. You can see the Caymans accelerate faster than usually the front-engine cars. It's not quite 911-like, but it's close. It's like 911 light.
Which is what those cars generally are in all aspects, in addition to the weight transfer.
Got everybody kind of settling out. Ethan Hamlet has just said, okay, I'm moving to GT4 Pro, and I'm just going to resume service.
Just going to keep it going, huh?
Yeah.
4 seconds on Uthman Badmus. And actually, let's go take a peek, because Jared Jones actually currently sitting in, what is that, 10th in GT4 Pro. And he's got Anthony Newman in front of him. Had a bit of a moment, kind of fell down the order a little bit, but it's currently holding station kind of in the mid-pack right now in the McLaren. Oh, actually, what we should be taking a look at right now is that Kyle Potter has caught back up to Eduardo Zamora in the 228.
He's got big damage on that front end.
He's got big damage on that front end, but I'm looking at last lap times, and he does have 2/10 on Zamora. In fact, both of them kind of almost posting their fastest laps last lap. Well, actually, Kyle Potter had his personal best last lap. Eduardo Zamora was 400ths off. So it's interesting. We do have some pit stops starting to happen right now. Andrew Monroe into the pits at least once, taking a peek at some of the others. Tanner Schiffner is in the pits. I think that might be a retirement for him. He's been sitting stationary for 4 minutes. That's a big rip in chat for the 51. Not what you want to see.
I think that one for Andrew Monroe is where he started in the pits.
Yeah. Let's
Turner said P3 killed P2.
Oh yeah, he was talking about what is it? Was that Badmus?
Yes, yeah, it was Ethan Hamlet turning Uthman Badmus in the heat at the kind of lap, I think 4 or 5, and causing him to be where he is now at the in this feature race.
Yeah. Yeah, Uthman Badmus currently running 8th in GT4 Pro. Close fights right now, really mostly lying in the GT4 field, because right now we've got, I want to say, 8 LMP3s up at the top that are still kind of really in it. Gabe Chavez actually has been shuffled down into P11 overall, currently sitting 9th in LMP3 category, and he's moving through GT4 traffic right now, trying to claw his way back up, maybe catch up to Ryan Bouquet. Henry Garcia, who was really fast in free practice and qualifying, currently finds himself in 11th place, and he is trying to... Sorry about that, folks. I'm not sure why I keep getting disconnected from Twitch.
think you gotta look at the checkbook and make sure that the cameramen and the
Yeah.
internet stream operators
I
were
wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked in the slightest.
might find yourself a booth full of cameramen and
Mhm.
stream operators upset,
Yep.
demanding payment.
Yep. Here at Track Limits, we do pay our bills. Let's let that be known. Christopher Blue, he's trying to do his best to hang on to a P3 finish and cash the check of a podium finish to start off his GT4 AM season. Currently 5, almost 6 seconds back from Kyle Potter, but he's kind of off on his own right now because Corey Laudner's like 13 seconds back. So that's a really good result for Christopher Blue if he can hang on to this.
Yep, you just gotta settle in, not fight traffic too much. Don't put yourself at risk, and just coast that thing home. I mean, you say coast at home, he's got like 50 minutes or 40 minutes left. But
there's still a lot of race left to go.
Yeah.
And real quick before we had the hiccup, I did want to mention Henry Garcia is where he's at as a result of a off track in the heat race as well. So it's interesting to see how I think the heat race does impact the feature pretty seriously.
Colin Johnson here. Both him and looks like him and Austin Green catching up to Stephen Wallace, who's currently in 4th and 5 seconds off of Ryan. Is that Ryan Thomas? Yeah, in the 3-3, one of the newcomers. So 2 newcomers top of GT4 Pro. We got Ethan Hamlet, of course, just putting in work. And then Sam Chapman and Ryan Thomas both in positions 2 and 3 for the feature race. So I think we're off to a pretty good start here with Track Limits. With the 16 laps in, 20 minutes. I mean, we still got so much race left.
I'm super curious if we would be watching Sam chase Ethan down, or if it would be reversed had Nick not caused that incident in the heat race.
I don't know. I mean, it's been slowly pulling away, but not massively.
And he keeps having these small incidents, it looks like, for Ethan that has brought him back.
I think this is one of those tracks that it's one thing to catch somebody and then another thing to pass them. It's you have to have a big either a mistake from the driver ahead or a big pace overlap.
Yeah, and I think that's why I asked that question of if we would see the inverse, where Ethan's trying to get past Sam and having that same issue that you're talking about.
Sometimes you gotta hip check somebody a little bit.
Well, we saw Ethan already do that with bad.
Gotta get your elbows out and create that gap that you want.
So here is Andrew Monroe. He's going in the pits.
He's diving in.
Yeah, he's diving in. Wonder if he's going to try and get himself right with fuel. Although with 22 minutes and the fuel, the way it's set up for LMP3s, do you think he can make it to the end with that? Like, that seems like a long time.
Yeah, that's a 2-stop for sure.
But the thing is, though, is if it's a 2-stop, if it's a natural 2-stop, I wonder if just trying to get into the undercut, maybe. I mean, I hate to say, even suggest the idea that you can pit in this format and not come in to traffic on that map. Like, I don't think that's possible. So if he's doing this undercut, don't really understand why the pit's happening at 22 minutes. But
now,
we might find out. Who knows?
One thing that busy of a track map allows you to do is a safe feel. Because regardless of what you're doing, you're still going to lose track time with traffic. So depending on how Scott Dixon good you are about fuel saving, you might find yourself up 3 or 4 positions just fuel saving.
Indeed. Taking a look at the field right now, field is really starting to spread out like a lot. Closest fight we've got on track right now: Sean Sullivan, David Schneider. Sullivan in 8th place. Sean Sullivan in the 66, coming back this season though, and he's in the McLaren. He's chasing down Dave Schneider, who I believe is a newcomer in the 52 Porsche.
Mm-hmm.
Healthy amount of those.
There are a healthy amount of Porsches on track. It is a pretty popular car this season, I think. The one thing go ahead.
Well, I was saying, I don't think they've changed anything on it for the longest time.
Yeah, sounds about right. Sounds about right. Let's see here. What other pit stops do we have happening right now? Nothing really. We do have like a couple of single hits, but I'm kind of curious how many of those started from pit lane. Tommen has done 2 pit stops. Another thing that's pretty interesting too, I don't know if this is like an indication of like kind of where we are in the season or with the talent pool we've got here. Off-track counts are quite low. The highest numbers I'm seeing for the most part are like 5, maybe 6. We do have one driver with 10 off tracks, but they're kind of like the anomaly. They're not. That's the exception, not the rule. So I'm kind of wondering if like everybody here is able to navigate Oschersleben quite well.
It is, and then it's also one of those tracks that really penalizes you for not doing it well. Either with the unsettling of the cars, like we saw with Corey Laubner, or the off tracks at the end of turn 2, like we saw with Michael Lively. Both are instances where, like, if you don't follow the racing line and have your corners really mapped out, both mentally as well as with your muscle memory, it penalizes you pretty harshly in terms of time and pace, and doesn't really net you a lot to try to abuse those track limits.
Indeed.
Go ahead.
I
think a lot of those track limits are going to come from like 8 and 9. That switchback chicane.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to go over a couple of those cones and nab a track limit. Because everything else, you're paying for it, and you're paying for it hard.
And even that one, if you go over that for the track limits, you also get a slowdown.
Yep, you'll get that slowdown.
So that usually accompanies a lot of those too. So it's definitely not a track that benefits.
You have that Buc-ee's livery up there. Shiny Buc-ee's.
Colin Johnson has an eyeful, and oh wow, LMP3 giving us a jump scare out of the left side of the camera shot there.
Yes, you...
Go ahead.
No, I was questioning I was doing mental math about seeing a Aston Martin with a Buc-ee's livery and what each brand represents, like Aston Martin, Buc-ee's. Just like, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Buc-ee's, the luxury of traffic stops.
Oh, for sure.
Yep. Go in there, get you your nice brisket sandwich. Mostly just get lost in there. Like, just go in there. Maybe if you need to take a nap or something like that, you just go into the clothing aisle and crawl into like one of the displays and just lay down.
It's kind of like you get stuck in one in the middle of the night, shuts down, storm, kind of horror movie stuff.
Oh yeah, zombie apocalypse. Buc-ee's is going to be a prized location for anyone trying to survive the zombie apocalypse. This is the content you come here, folks. You come here for this stuff. Back to the racing action. So Stephen Wallace, you can see this field is kind of like compressing a little bit behind Stephen Wallace because Austin Green is not too far off the back of Colin Johnson, and the LMP3s are moving back through. Can't tell if that's the 88 or the 888. It's one of the TSR LMP3s.
Oh, no, I think it's Wesley Griffith. Neither of those.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So Wesley, and Wesley was really high up there for a while. Being on the West Coast, I've never been able to experience a Buc-ee's. Well, you know, I wasn't
you're missing out.
Yeah, I mean they are interesting. I'm gonna leave it at that. They are interesting. Like the things that people do when they want to take something to the extreme. I never once for a moment in my what is that 42 years on this earth that I would have thought for a second that what if we took a Walmart and a gas station, put them together?
Yep.
Yeah, I just never thought about it. Oh,
Hey,
Usman, what a slide!
Big slide.
Yep. So Uthman Tommy Kogan getting ready to go to battle here in the fight for 7th position. And you know what's interesting? This fight for 7th right here, and then you look 2.6 seconds up the road. What do you got going on?
Another fight.
Yeah, you got another fight going on. You got Austin Green, you got Colin Johnson, and you've got who's that? Oh, Stephen Wallace. Stephen Wallace.
Yes. The whole reason we've been talking about Buc-ee's for the past 10 minutes.
Yeah, the whole reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just so transfixed with all the battles on track that it's kind of hard to keep it all straight in my head.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I will say is it does look like we have a few other drivers right now kind of having, a little bit tougher of a race, a little bit lonelier, but at the same time, you take a look at Corey Lobner right now in the 41 Porsche, and he is 10 seconds off of Christopher Blue, but 4th in GT4 AM is a good haul of points for a feature race.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people just kind of keeping their head down, just plugging out laps and just trying to survive. Because again, look at that track map. Like,
yeah, it's busy. Very, very busy.
Yep.
GT4 Pros having all those close battles, and it's kind of like you have somebody behind you, and they're just waiting for you to make a mistake.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And look at that train right now. That train behind Steve Wallace.
Can we get a Buc-ee's car and a Piggly Wiggly car in here?
Wow. He brought up the Piggly Wiggly. Wow.
You got to go back to back. Like you got to go first to get gas at Buc-ee's, and then you go to Piggly Wiggly's.
Yeah, we just need to get all of the convenience and grocery franchises out here. Like I'd like to see a Food Line. Let's see a Food Line car.
Oh my gosh.
So where I'm from, small town America. Our local grocery store is called, and I kid you not, you can go Google Maps it if you want.
Oh no.
That Austin Green gets all kinds of loose.
Oh,
yeah.
But I think he might have saved it.
He saved that.
Wow. Austin Green. And now Austin Green is going to have Tommy Kogan and Uthman Badmus looming large in the background there. Local grocery store, kid you not, the Mad Butcher.
There you go.
Yep. And the slogan is "They're mad about you." It's like, okay, all right, gonna go in here and I'm gonna get carved up by the Mad Butcher.
What's it? Is it just like a grocery store?
It's a grocery store.
Okay.
Yep, it's owned by I think FGA Foods or something like that.
Okay.
Back to the racing action though, folks. Michael Lively in the 888 for TSR, sitting on top, and he's got 3.5 seconds to Pisecki with 3:43, currently in 2nd place, and then 16 seconds between Pisecki and Fleming.
That's
A
forever.
gap. That is a gap. Let's check in with Scott Fleming. Serial Team 6. I got to figure out what's up with his livery and make sure that I've got that. I did have a couple of liveries that erred in trading paints. So I'm not entirely sure what happened there.
I think
I don't know. I've been seeing an all carbon P3 for a while.
Right, so
He's probably feeling like What's Tom Hanks' character in Castaway? He's just in an island by himself.
Yeah. With Wilson.
Yeah.
That's somebody we haven't seen right now in an LMP3 out here on track, Mr. Sam Wilson
Tom Hanks.
from last season.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Tom Hanks in an LMP3 and Track Limits
Ooh.
Racing, folks. Just tune in further in the season. I'm sure he'll make a guest appearance.
And spin out of Andrew Monroe.
No, that's going to hurt. That is really going to hurt Andrew Monroe. But
Oh,
he's sticking with it.
synchronized spins there.
He's sticking with it. Currently in 8th. So, you know, not the points haul he was going to hope for the feature race, but he's going to try and plug away and see what he can come out of this round with. Let's jump back some of the battles on track as we go back to the battle for the top 3. Yep. We've got Stephen Wallace, Colin Johnson. Austin Green's kind of disappeared from this with a 3.7 second gap. And Tommy Kogan, currently 17th overall, running 6th in GT4 Pro. He's chasing down Austin right now. With that being the case, so Uthman dropped down. He's now in 7th overall. That is quite a dip between Uthman and where he was fighting with Tommy Kogan earlier. What fights on track are you guys keeping your eye on?
Is that what part of the track we're keeping our eye on?
Oh no, just the fights in general. Hits are starting to come in. Somebody who did the Giga undercut. We got Mr. Ethan Hamlet right now, currently in 10th in GT4 Pro, but he had a pit stop with 30.65 on the jacks and 56.48 for the actual pit lane travel time. Let's take a peek at Stephen Wallace and see where he's going to come out at. So that's ticking up right now for Mr. Stephen Wallace. Kind of curious. Yep, we got more pit stops coming in right now. Ethan Hamlet's going to make his move around. We do have some folks extending. Sam Chapman, Brian Thompson, Tommy Kogan, all going long. I do like that team name. Yes. We should take a peek, right? Let's take a look at the pit lane time right now relative to the field. Trying to see if I can look at it relative to. I was kind of hoping I could see it relative to the competitor. But it doesn't look like you can. Huh, interesting. We'll figure that one out maybe for a later day. Wookie OH rating with a party of 3. That means F's in chat for Logan. Thanks for being a part of it, man. Thanks for the raid. So with Chapman going into the pits right now, we're staying on board with Ethan Hamlet because we kind of want to get a reference of where Ethan is going to land relative to Sam Chapman, Ryan Thomas. Again, 30.65 on the jacks. That's the reference to beat. 56.48 for the pit lane travel time. Sam Chapman has a heck of a pit stop. 54.1 and 28.7 on the jacks. So Ethan has it cut out for him as here comes Sam out of pit road. And he's out in front. Ethan Hamlet's going to have to chase him down. Ryan Thomas, he looks like he's going to miss out just a little bit with a pretty decent pit stop. But just a little bit too far back from Sam Chapman and Ethan Hamlet when he comes out.
I'm curious if he took tires.
Yeah, that would be good to know. I wonder if...
or just had a bad pit stop or something.
Yeah. So Uthman Badmus, that pit stop might have been him pulling the trigger super early. He had 26.7 on the jacks and 52.8 in pit lane travel time. Finds himself behind Colin Johnson again, splitting both Colin and Tommy Cogan.
We're still cycling through pit lane here. It's going to be interesting to see also if there are any shakeups in the Ligier P320s, the LMP3 class.
Yep, I'm on board with Michael Lively right now as he comes down the start-finish straightaway, looping around one of the GT4 runners. As he comes across the pit lane, moves back up into the top spot. So Alex Velasco still in the pit. Scott Fleming getting ready to go up on the jacks. And Bartosz Pisecki, he's still in it. And he is 4 seconds now off of Michael Lively's time. 23.8 on the jacks and 49.85 in pit lane travel time for Pisecki in the 343. Yeah, another person. Here's your mover shaker. Up 3 spots right now. Gian Cardoso with a 49.82 on the jacks and a 24.43.
Can we do the horn sounds to get Gian hyped up?
Oh, Gian, I'm not sure if he gets hyped up with the air horn. Do I need to get one of those sound effects for the stream? Nice air horn. I just jam on it and everybody's ears bleed.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good way to do it.
Oh, you might. You got to keep an eye on Ethan. This battle back here is heating up a little bit.
Yep.
I see the gap coming down.
And here's the thing, Ryan Thomas, 18 seconds back from this. So after the pit stops and everything like that, really did not come out in favor of Ryan Thomas. But Sam Chapman really did what was necessary to leapfrog Ethan Hamlet. Let's actually ride on board from Ethan's perspective.
Oh, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah, that is going to definitely hurt his line on corner exit. Now Sam Chapman has Ethan Hamlet all in his gearbox.
It's like every time we switch to a battle, is somebody chasing a Porsche.
I mean, I think it has something to do with the fact that there's a million of them on track. Ooh, Chapman goes
on
wide.
sheep.
Whoa, that was a
Pushes
big
out.
washout there into turn 2, and now Chapman's.
Ethan's still
Go ahead.
not clear. He's got an axle on him.
Do you
And-
think there could be tires involved, and Chapman just does not have them up to temperature yet?
It
I
is
think it's
possible.
That was a big washout into turn 2.
That is also
Yeah,
a corner.
Go ahead.
Could have carried too much speed, making up for that bad exit out of 14.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that is a corner that if you take even just the slightest amount of too much speed and you don't get that rotation in, you're gonna wash regardless of how fresh your tires are or if they're up to temperature or not.
Ethan's the way he's moving that car. He is looking for that little bit of a gap. He's gonna wedge his way in there.
So with that now, pit stops done in our first feature race of the season, folks, and it does look like it is shaking up the field just a little bit with Sam Chapman leapfrogging Ethan Hamlet to get up to the top of GT4 Pro with the margins between these two being very slim. Colin Johnson finds himself behind Uthman Badmus. I believe Uthman might have got the pass done on track as opposed to just in the pits alone. The thing that's a call out from Mr. Jaden Ledbetter in chat is Stephen Wallace with a is that a minute 40 in the pits?
I believe so.
That is
Yeah.
absolutely heartbreaking for Mr. Stephen Wallace. In the GTAM class, so we have not talked a lot about GTAM because the fights really have been kind of like stuck at the front end of GT4 Pro. But I do want to call out the fact that Kyle Potter has found his way back up into the top spot, GT4 AM, with Christopher Blue and Corey Lobner in second and third, respectively. Edward Zamora losing out, dropping down to 4th place. And then we've got newcomer Eric Knudsen. He's currently in 5th in GT4 AM. What do you guys think so far? First pit stops done and dusted. Kind of mixed things back up, didn't it?
It did. With Chapman leapfrogging Ethan Hamlet. I mean, that's going to be a fight to watch. GT4 always, it's one of the funnest, most exciting fighting that I've ever experienced in iRacing. And this is, yeah, this is looking good. Just keep us busy.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely keeping us busy. One other race to pay attention to right now. We're going to drop further back in the field right now. We do have Matt Pyle right now, and it looks like he is trying to take a peek. I believe Matt is currently 38 seconds back. Man, the intervals are lying to me relative to Matt, so I'm not entirely sure what's happening there. Because my interval on my data is very different from the one that's on screen. Let's jump back to Sam Chapman, though, because that is the fight that we do really care about, because that is for the lead of GT4 Pro from the gearbox shot of Mr. Chapman.
Really gonna be interesting to see if Chapman keeps making the lines perfect. How hard of a time is Ethan gonna have to try to get around him again? I think Sam definitely made the right call with the what is it? Interesting use of traffic for Ethan to deal with. An off track from Sam, man.
I'm looking at him, and Ethan's lines are a little bit tighter, a little bit more settled than Chapman's lines.
I think Chapman is also pushing at this point to try to stay ahead of him.
He's squeezing that Cayman for all it's got.
And as we saw earlier in the heat race, those tires will eventually not like him at the end of that.
So with the way things are shaking out right now, these two have kind of made it very easy for us to figure out who to focus on. Because this is the only fight on track right now that is within a second of anyone. So the field has really kind of like smoothly spread out across the entirety of Oschersleben. And this is the fight right now to watch. So although Uthman, I say that Uthman is now starting to close down on Ryan Thomas, although that gap's kind of been fluctuating a bit. Some GT4, some LMP3 traffic splitting the GT4 Pro front runners right now. And Ethan's going to have to try and crawl his way back up. Mark Coyne in the LMP3 taking the late pit stop. Switch on over. So Uthman catching up to Ryan Thomas.
There he goes again. Chapman washed out a little bit out of 14. And now Ethan's again inside of 0.3. Uthman, Badmus is just, that's drive.
Yeah.
You started what, 8th?
Uthman is currently, in terms of,
he's 4th.
He's 4th.
Yeah.
He's plus 21 on the overall.
Yeah, he's moved that car.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to overtake in this track, and he's consistently moving up. It's like DHL. Is that DHL?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delivering.
He's definitely got a delivery.
Yeah.
Getting locked behind some back marker traffic. I believe that is one of the Newman gang.
I believe that's John?
It might be John, yeah.
He's not letting that one come between them. He's like, I am wedging the car in here. You need to get out of our way.
Pretty good stuff right now.
Fantastic.
So with the pit stops over here at Oschersleben, we are in the back half of this race as we are getting close to the 50-minute mark. Uthman Badmus right now currently sitting in 4th, trying to chase down newcomer Ryan Thomas in the 33. There's one of the
Now,
LMP3s getting around them. Go ahead, sir.
are we getting a second pit stop for the GT4s?
It's a good question.
I don't think
Because
so.
because if we are, and Ethan is just hanging out in P2 saving fuel, looks
Yeah.
like he's settled into that gap. He looks a little bit cleaner, a little bit more settled. Is he saving fuel to hopefully get that overtake done in the pit lane?
Good question, man. I'm not entirely
That
sure.
would be my vote.
I'm curious if they even have to do a second one because they were coming in around the 45-minute mark.
Mm-hmm.
And that would put them at an hour 30 if they need to make another stop, and there's only an hour 10 in the race.
Yeah, I think one stopper is the thing on offer. The one thing that I'm kind of curious about is just like take for example Uthman stopped. Uthman stopped relatively early in comparison to the field. So
Yeah.
Uthman stopped on what is it? 2 laps previous to Ryan Thomas. So we definitely have some folks that stopped quite late. Although the latest of the currently one stoppers I'd say the earliest of the one stoppers got to be this guy right here in the 88, Mr. Andrew Monroe. Stopped on lap 16. Was his last pit stop. So I think he's got a tough one ahead of him. He can get that LMP3 to the finish.
I'm curious if they are able to one-stop the LMP3s.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think they'll be able to.
I didn't think so either, but a lot of them didn't come in until lap 27, 28.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they do have an extra 10%, if I remember correctly, on the GT4s.
Yeah.
The field's starting to close down a little bit. In fact, it's starting to get a little bit heated up here as Mr. Ethan Hamlet catching back up to Mr. Sam Chapman. This has been a great fight to watch between these two, for real.
Everybody's just kind of. I feel like the pit stops just kind of separated everybody, and then, we're like what, 10 laps after, give or take. Yeah. And service is resuming. Everybody's just kind of like tightening back up. Be like, okay, round 2, let's go.
Something that's really interesting to watch right now. Alex Velasco currently has Scott Fleming looming in his background. Scott Fleming upgrading from GT4 to the LMP3 series for 2025 Season 1. Currently running in 5th in the LMP3 category and sitting less than a half second behind Alex Velasco. And he's given the 777 definitely something to pay attention to in his rear view.
Definitely gonna make Velasco very much keep to his lines if he wants to hold on to the P4. I think the overall pace puts Scott Fleming, I think, slightly ahead, but he also has to get around him, like Retro has mentioned earlier, and that's always a different story than being faster in a vacuum.
Yeah. So it's good to see LMP3 fights starting to close in because they kind of were spread out far apart from one another for quite a while. So it's the fact that Scott Fleming is catching back up to Alex Velasco and giving us a little bit of a show, and they're catching up to Austin Green, so they're getting close to this pack that was originally battling for P3, but they've kind of like split up a little bit, although Ethan Hamlin's getting close again, so is Uthman Badmus. They're not too far up the road.
So everybody pitted, and then all the intervals went to the, You know, nothing's red, nothing's orange, yellow, whatever. And then last couple laps started to pop up again.
Lock up there from Velasco in that last corner.
So Velasco losing a decent chunk of time relative to Fleming in previous laps. Did manage to claw back some time last lap, but it seems like Scott's been pretty consistently closing in on him. Interesting. Let's jump back over. What else do we got going on? Let's go back to that front end battle with Ethan Hamlet and Sam Chapman. So this fight in GT4 Pro, what have you guys been thinking about? I mean, we got a heat race out of the way, and we're into the feature race, and it does still feel like front end of GT4 Pro is going to be pretty spicy this season.
I absolutely believe that. I think it'd be even spicier if Uthman was able to stick with them. I think we'd be having a pretty tense battle for the podium across all three spots.
Yeah.
If that was the case.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see more of that as the season continues. But I think it'll be, like you said, very, very competitive, sharp end of GT4 Pro.
I think you had them separated by 5/10 between first pole and P6.
Mm-hmm.
So they are, that's on a perfect clean lap with room and everything. Once traffic comes into effect, that 0.1, I think it was P1 to P3 was 0.05. The difference is like that goes away in a heartbeat. That's nothing.
I don't want to see.
You've seen them all.
Go ahead.
All the ground that Ethan has been able to make up on Chapman goes away under acceleration.
Yeah.
Every time that Cayman gets on the throttle, he's just pulls another gap.
Yeah.
Eventually, if he pushes that car too hard, those tires are going to go away. It's not going to want to accelerate in a straight line. It's going to try to do its best audition to Tokyo Drift.
So that's going to put Chapman offline. You can see the debris. He's popping popcorn out the backside. And that's going to give Ethan opportunity maybe to close in a little bit. Oh, man, Austin Green catching back up to Tommy Kogan, man. And GT4 Pro, the front end is doing that thing again that they do when they're like, hey, guys, how many cars can we put in shot? So let's see what's up over in the land of Colin Johnson right now as he's trying to catch up to Uthman Badmus. And Uthman's not far off of Ryan Thompson right now. And we haven't been showing a whole lot of... Whoa, hang on a minute. We haven't been showing a whole lot of LMP3s right now. But we are seeing Pisecki in the 343 starting to inch a little bit closer to Michael Lively in the 888. So we might have ourselves a bit of a banger. And look at that. Down in GT4 AM, Corey Lobner. Corey Lobner's like, hey, guys, you forgot about us. And we didn't forget about you. We've just been watching the races that are close here, Corey. But it does look like he is closing down on Christopher Blue. Christopher Blue's going to have to turn that M4 into an M12. He's got to get 3 wide before he can try and make a move on him. But both these guys are pretty good racers. So I'm really interested to see this fight now.
That gap in LMP3 has dropped from 1 second to 0.2. I wonder if there was traffic or a mistake or something in there. Maybe it was just the crew chief calling from the pit lane, being like, "Hey, these guys are only talking about GT4. We need you to get some
action."
Yeah, we need some camera time for the sponsors to be able to get something in there. But they are single file.
And we are quickly approaching that 1 hour mark. And then we'll be in the closing phase of this race. Bartosz Pisecki really trying to keep it close with Michael Lively, not letting him run off into the distance. Ethan Hamlet also starting to keep it really close with Chapman. Let's go check in on the 4.6. And the back end of that Porsche is starting to suggest a few things that you were talking about earlier there, Retro. Definitely felt like the corner entry, mid-corner on the Cayman did seem a little swirly.
Yeah, corner entry and mid-corner, it's always kind of, especially when you push the car, it can unsettle it. But once you hook the apex and get on throttle, get that weight down on the outside tire, it just goes. The problem is, you're going to overheat your tires, and that's going to be a big issue. And then wearing out those outside corners on a track like this, overheated plus worn tires make for poor finishing places.
Indeed, man. We got ourselves a bit of a race here in the closing phases. Pockets of battles popping up all over the place. We've got Lively and Pisecki, Chapman, Hamlet, Thomas, Badmus, Colin Johnson in GT4 Pro, and then Corey Lobner, Christopher Blue really continuing to make it interesting in GT4 AM. Somebody we haven't talked about at all this race, has no front end, but has it after the pit stop. Kyle Potter in the 82. 30 seconds over Christopher Blue right now. Jaden, are you watching? Do you see the big number on the screen? We might need to do a reclassification of Mr. Potter here. Yeah. Kyle has definitely put in some work, especially gaining some ground after kind of losing out a little bit on the start.
Yeah. He drove that car back. He didn't have any headlights.
No.
Don't need no indicators. It's a BMW. They don't. It's an optional feature. So
in fact, I think if I remember correctly, the way it works with turn indicators in the BMW is that if you actually use one of them, it just ejects you from the car. It's like, as a driver, you're not worthy. Just get out.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like, oh, left signal, out the left door you go.
Yep.
So.
I'm gonna ignore what Jaden said about the Porsche. I'm just not gonna look at that.
Got to do the custom bop.
Nope.
I mean, it is definitely a situation where there are a gaggle of Porsches in this season, for sure. But you know what? When I'm looking at the manufacturer differences right now, I also do see a healthy chunk of McLarens. I do see a healthy chunk of AMGs. So I do feel like we've got some pretty solid representation over here.
Just funny, the AMG isn't used so much in the GT3s. I mean, last year Daytona was nothing but AMGs. But in general, a lot of people don't drive the AMGs in GT3, but in GT4, they're pretty good cars.
Yeah, it is interesting. Look at that. I got the track map search to work. We can focus in on Colin Johnson as he's chasing down Uthman Badmus on track. Just taking a peek at some of the others real quick. Let's go ahead and hide this guy, because what I'm curious about is if we take a look at Johnson. Actually, let's do it like this. Let's go to right now. Definitely looks like Ryan Thomas is starting to fall into Uthman Badmus's clutches here. And let's take ourselves a little peek at the +1, -1 on Uthman relative to both Thomas and Johnson here. Does look like everybody's losing out to Thomas a little bit on lap 36, but starting lap 37, things start to get a little unsettled for Ryan Thomas with both Uthman and Colin Johnson starting to catch up. His LMP3 traffic probably showed up at the most opportune moment for Ryan Thomas.
There's some light flashing going on. Be like, hey,
Yep. He is
we are
definitely
fighting.
like, hey, like to get
please move or I will move you.
around. Yeah, it's
I've been watching way too much NASCAR lately.
Yeah, maybe.
Yep.
Shouldn't be moving cars around.
And Uthman flashing Ryan Thomas like, please move, sir, sir.
You're in my way. You imagine these cars had horns. Just instead of flashing, it's just honking. Just
No,
on road.
I think the feature would be LED signs that would like show like messages. Like that'd be. I think iRacing could add that in for like some flavor, where instead of like the pass left coming over chat, just like projects off the back of the car. But man, I had a coworker. Funny story. As we are 1 hour and 4 minutes, I'll do one more funny story before we call it. I had a coworker that had a train horn in his car.
It's great.
And it was just watching him like slow roll up to somebody and then lay on that train horn and watching them practically jump out of their skin while on the driver's side of the car. It was just
what kind of car was it? Was it like a Mini or like a Fiesta?
No, he was driving a Trailblazer. But he had the train whistle and stuff set up in the back and with the compressor and everything, and would just like slow roll up and then just hammer the Colin losing some ground.
Big moment there.
That was one of the moments of all time.
This is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt Chapman. Watching these guys back here.
Oh, really? So
Chapman has he's got some P3 traffic coming through in bad spots.
Yep. It does look like relative to the rest of the track, everybody's kind of close here, so we're going to kind of keep it right here, maybe towards the end of this race, because both Fleming with 3/10, we got Pisecki's got 9/10 on Lively. This is the close battle to watch on track, and it does look like Corey Lobner has started to lose some ground relative to Christopher Blue. So we are in the final stages. We're looking somewhere in the neighborhood of, what would that be, 4 laps to the end?
2,
maybe 3.
Yeah.
But it's one of those tracks. If you focus on yourself and you turn off the rear view, whatever, don't look back. Just focus on your braking points, your line. You can hold back a car that's faster by, I don't know, half a second, if not more.
Yeah.
You can still hold them up because they just cannot find a good section to overtake you.
Yeah.
Especially in like if you're the similar class, there's no real good overtaking opportunities outside of waiting for the mistake, or getting a really good run down the backstretch.
Yeah.
One of the 3 straights, 2-ish straights, main straights on this race, both have opportunities there if you get a better run than they do. But with how these two have been racing, I don't think that's going to be a margin that will benefit either of them enough to get around, especially Ethan. He needs to make that pass soon as we're running out of time.
Yeah, he needs to make a hero moment, and he's what, 2.5 cars back. That's gonna be a big dive bomb into a track that doesn't really have a dive bombing spot.
Look at the GT4 Pro timing tower sliding up.
It's just
as, everybody is just super compressed in this battle for P3.
Yeah.
It is. And it's all for P3. I mean, we're talking, what, a 1.5, 2 second spread between Thomas all the way down to Green? Like, it's pretty wild. So, definitely seems like we've got some competition up at the sharp end of GT4 Pro this season, and I'm here for it.
I think LMP3 will also be pretty tight. this season, and I'm excited for that as well. We've
Certainly
not spoken
looks
about
like
it
it.
much.
Like navigating around the traffic right now, it is allowing Lively to lose some ground relative to Pisecki. Kind of curious if when Lively comes around, if this is going to be it, if it's going to be white flag or not.
Oh,
Ooh, man, he's catching
These
traffic
guys-
at the worst possible moment, man.
I think Ethan at this point is bump drafting Chapman around 0.07 behind.
This right here might be white flag. Switching back over to Ethan Hamlet because, man, the fights are too close on this track right now to follow them all.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye back here, and he was, yeah, that is the white flag.
Yep.
He was bump drafting Chapman through the final, or the back straight.
Indeed. I'm going to keep my eyes planted on the timing and scoring screen. You guys let me know. Although I just saw one of the LMP3s dive off.
Yep,
That might have
was
been
Wesley.
Griffin.
Yep.
You see Pisecki's
Yeah.
that timing screen is just, where do you look?
Yep, exactly.
Ooh, a wiggle out of Michael Lively
Oh,
on the back straight.
we're going to...
They still
Is this the
pressure is
moment?
on.
Oh, big spin
Yeah.
from Chapman. Looked like maybe net code.
Oh, that is
Oh,
3-ish
no.
seconds right when I cut away.
Yeah.
That
Unfortunate.
is, yeah.
And that is going to be Lively taking the win with Pisecki coming across in second. And we will have Gian Cardoso coming across the line in third. Ethan Hamlet right now. Might be some net code. Might be some
That
review.
is-
Who knows? But he's coming around the penultimate corner right now and into the final.
Yeah, it definitely looks like net code.
Yeah, that is a heartbreaker. There's, what, a foot between the cars, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
that is
That is
absolutely
a dead GT4
unfortunate.
on track. I do not know what happened there.
I think
Do also see, so Ethan Hamlet's going to come across the line. Ryan Thomas looks like he is going to hang on. Oh, where'd Ryan Thomas go? There we go. It has gone to scenic camera again. Thanks, guys. Ryan Thomas, and you can see the gaggle of cars behind Uthman Badmus as they get ready to come around the final corner right here. But Ryan Thomas is going to take third in GT4 Pro. Comes across the line. Really good result for Ryan Thomas for his first time around in the Track Limits Racing feature event. So we got Uthman, followed by Johnson, and then Kogan, Austin Green. Let's talk about GT4 AM. We did not really get a lot with these guys. The field was kind of spread out. But Kyle Potter moving back through the field to take the win in GT4 AM. Christopher Blue looking at his first podium in the feature race. Excellent result. Corey Lobner, I think, had a really good heat race, so I think he's looking at a good points haul overall.
I think if
Coming
Corey
out
hadn't had
around
that
one.
accident,
Go ahead.
I was saying if he hadn't had that accident early on and that incident that caused him to lose control, I think he would have definitely been up there.
Yeah.
Further trying to fight with, I think,
Indeed.
Christopher Blue and maybe Kyle Potter, maybe not, but definitely with trying to take the fight to Christopher Blue a little bit
Yeah.
more seriously.
Yeah, let's take a look at the results there for the feature race. Let's get the actually get the rest of this stuff out of the way. Sorry about that, folks. Now, let's take a peek. All right, so feature race results. Michael Lively taking that win there with Bartosz Pisecki in second, Gian Cardoso in third. Scott Fleming, after having kind of a dramatic race, still managing to finish it out in fourth, does find his way around Alex Velasco there at the end. Wesley Griffith in sixth, Ryan Buchanan in seventh, Andrew Monroe eighth, with Gabe Chavez, John Tommen, and let's see here. Who else we got down there?
Mark Coyne.
Mark
rounds out
Coyne
the
and John
round
Barry.
three.
Yes. Let's take a look at those GT4 Pro runners now. Ethan Hamlet Drama at the end, manages to sneak away with the win. Sam Chapman 5 seconds off, but man, they were nose to tail pretty much after the pit stops. So
and it was heartbreak for Sam Chapman as he was spun twice by LMP3s.
yeah, that is just real unfortunate for Chapman. But man, am I so excited for GT4 Pro, because this is some of the closest racing we've seen here at Track Limits. Ryan Thomas, it's going to come across the line in third. Kind of was in a bit of no man's land for a while, and then Uthman Badmus, after the pit stop, all up in his gearbox. And then that battle for third just stuck the whole way around. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, all kind of right there. And man, that was... Yeah, I know who you are. The Giant. Yep, it shows on your SimGrid stuff, Uthman. But yeah, that was a good race there in GT4 Pro. But we've also got Anthony Newman coming in 8th. Henry Garcia. Henry Garcia is probably going to be wondering kind of what happened to the race, because man, he had some serious fast lap times in free practice and then in the qualifying. But man, that was just tough result for Garcia.
Yeah, especially after the feature and the incident there that caused him to spin out and have his potential recovery drive from there.
Somebody who is in really interesting waters in terms of whether or not he's going to get promoted or not before the season even gets to round 2 is Mr. Kyle Potter, who walked away with the win in the heat and feature race, and that's after leaving his front bumper somewhere on the track at the start. So yeah, Kyle Potter is definitely got some pace. Christopher Blue, it's a good result for him. Corey Lobner, same for Corey as well. Eduardo Zamora started off super strong, ran into some drama, but a 4th place finish for a feature race. That's going to be a good points haul. Sean Sullivan in 5th place and Eric Knudsen 6th. John Newman in 7th. Bruno Clemente, another newcomer, in 8th. David Schneider, and I believe that is Thomas D. Arcangelo in 10th for GT4 AM. So some good stuff for everybody. I thought the first round was pretty dramatic. What are your thoughts so far, gentlemen?
Okay. I think it was really good. Lots of good fights. Just when you thought that it started cooling off after the pit stops, and then everybody kind of gathered themselves up and said, "All right, let's stop them from just looking at GT4 Pro. Let's give them something else to talk about." So then everybody decided to fight at the same time. It was good to see.
Yeah, plenty of good battles across all 3 categories that we have here. Interesting stuff. I definitely am going to would love to see what the review brings for a few of the cars and pieces there, because I think it's mostly clean racing, but there are definitely moments that I think that could have been avoided in hindsight. But hindsight is 2020, so be interesting to see how it continues and evolves. These battles, I think, are super close between each other, so it'll be cool to see them evolve over the year. And as you kind of mentioned at one point in the race, but something I love to talk about at this moment is, as these drivers get to know each other more too, all the new faces meeting all the old faces, the racecraft kind of builds as you kind of build respect for each other, spending time on the track, learning what everybody's habits are, what the people's strengths are and weaknesses are. Both yours and everybody else's. It's cool to see, and it's cool to see how people interact on the racetrack evolve over the course of a season.
I like it.
Go ahead, sir.
Oh no, I said I like it.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a very good start. Very good start to the season, and I'm really looking forward to round number 2. Question in chat about it being posted on YouTube. We will, but probably going to have to do some work in the background, because with the disconnects and stuff like that, everything will be kind of disjointed. That said, we're going to call it here. It was an excellent start to the season. I am very much pumped for round number 2, which I believe are going to Road Atlanta.
Yes.
And that is one of my favorite tracks of all time. 90 minutes around Road Atlanta with this setup, I think it's going to be a pretty exciting show. So I'm really looking forward to that. I hope you guys will join us there. In the meantime, simgrid.com, search the host for Track Limits Racing. Feel free to jump in the Discord, be a part of the community. That's all I've got. Finn, Retro, any final words?
Quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
When is Road Atlanta?
So Road Atlanta is going to be on February 15th. It is going to be one of the few races this season where we have back-to-back weeks. Normally they're a little bit more spread out, but February 15th, same bat time, same bat channel, Road Atlanta, 90 minutes. It's going to be pretty awesome. And then we've also got some other really amazing races further on down the season, but you can check out all that information on simgrid.com. Just search the host for Track Limits Racing.
Absolutely. That was one thing I had. Fantastic
Retro?
racing. Looking forward to next week.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Retro,
Great racing. Great racing. Great seeing a healthy amount of Porsches out there. If we can get that Piggly Wiggly car out there, I can help with delivery. That'd be great. But looking forward to seeing more fights and everybody developed during the season.
Yeah. Yeah, it's some good stuff. Guys, I want to thank you both for being in the booth with me. I know we had some technical gremlins and some technical issues, but it's an absolute blast to be back in the seat and to watch really exciting multi-class racing with the two of you. Hoping to see you guys. I think Retro, I think you're going to be off and on, but whenever you're available to do any casting inside the booth, you're more than welcome. And Finn, yeah, man, just glad to be back in the booth and doing some casting with you.
I'm likewise. I've missed. It's one of the few things I think I missed realistically over our off season. Was I was like, man, I can't wait to be back in the booth and spending time with y'all. And then Retro was like, hey, I'm gonna come in and show up, and I'm like, fuck yeah. So it's absolutely blast.
I'm gonna show up with a mullet and a 12-pack.
Exactly, and that's all we need. And then I feel like it's just a fantastic experience, at least for me personally, and I've enjoyed spending time with you both as well. So thrilled to be here, excited for next weekend, and for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
So for everybody at home, we're gonna call it here with the Track Limits Racing Gang. Again, next week, round 2, Road Atlanta, 90 minutes. More of this multi-class action on track. Hope to see you all there. Be a part of the action. Check us out on SimGrid. Check us out on Discord. Until next time, I'm Whelpcakes. This has been a lot of fun. We hope to see you at the next one. Take it easy.